In the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Welcome everyone to another great episode of Brutally Honest. I am your host, Stitches NBC, and welcome. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Just give me a second while I try to invite people. I'm trying to multitask here. But today we're actually going to be talking about co-parenting. Raising our sons to be kings and raising our daughters to be queens. We're going to be talking about that. Now, I'm going to be talking about co-parenting, and we all know that it's not easy to co-parent. We get it. But do we know how important it is? I'm going to ask you guys off the rip right now, why do you guys feel like it's so important to have a healthy and stable co-parenting relationship? I know this is supposed to be like common sense, but clearly it's not, because we see so much deadbeat fathers out there and deadbeat mothers out here, and at the end of the day, it's only the kids that are getting hurt. It's mainly the kids that are getting affected. So I'm going to ask you guys, why is it so important to co-parent? But before we get to that, I did say that I wanted to talk about as far as why is it that things change once they get married. Now, me personally, I've never been married my whole life. Thank God for that. But I'm just saying, like, I see a lot of people, and I know a lot of people, and most of the people that I come across with, they hate being married. And I'm thinking, I'm asking them, so why did you get married in the first place? Like, why did you even get married? And they all have different answers and things like that, and that's cool. But the main reason, or the main reason that I get from the feedback is because their partner changed. If I'm talking to a female, she says, oh, because my husband changed. If I'm talking to a dude, he tells me, oh, because she ended up changing. So I want to know, why is it that all of a sudden they changed just because they got married? To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it seems like, in my opinion, I'm going to ask you guys too, why do you guys feel like things change all of a sudden once you got married, once you have that paperwork? I actually, not that I argue with this girl about, oh, it's just a piece of paper. I was just trying to let her know that a lot of people don't believe that it is just a piece of paper. A lot of people believe that marriage or that paperwork symbolizes their love. Now, I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to disagree with it in order for me to understand it. And it's funny because people be like, oh, but I think a lot deeper than that. But if you think so deep, clearly you wasn't thinking deep enough if you can't understand others. This is why I cringe and I frown when people tell me, oh, they're woke, they woke. Most of the people that say that they're woke are still laying down on their bed with their eyes open. Please, save me all of that. Like, it's your actions that it is. Now, press 1 if you're watching live. Press 2 if this is a replay. And comment if you want a shout out. What's good, Tanisha? What's good, Brandy? And what's good, everybody out here? Do me a favor and share if y'all don't mind. We're actually going to be talking about something extremely important. And I'm not going to be joking around with this or anything like that. Ain't no comedic relief today. We're going to save that for Thursday. Thursday is going to be a real popping episode too. But for Tuesdays, I want to focus with the task at hand, which is co-parenting. Now, Tanisha said, because it affects the kids. You damn right it does affect the kids. Brandy, you don't have to be extra nice and win their attention. They aren't going anywhere because they married to you. Okay, so she's responding to the question I asked as far as why do things change after a marriage? Hey, you could be right. I can't even disagree with you. Hey, what's up, Francis? Where you been, girl? Where you been? Like, comment, and share, if you don't mind. Now, in my opinion, as why I feel like marriages change, or relationships change after you get involved into the marriage is because they feel like they got a hold on you now. They feel like how Brandy said, oh, you ain't going anywhere. Like, I got you now. Like, I got the paperwork. Now you signed. Now you're mine. And if you want to leave me, if you want to cheat on me, if you want to break up with me, guess what? I'm taking half of your stuff too. Maybe that's why. But that's just a simple question. I want to talk about the main task at hand as far as why co-parenting is so important. Now, I'm talking about raising our sons to be kings and our daughters to be queens. We cannot raise them in a dysfunctional family, in a dysfunctional environment, when all they're getting is the rage and the anger and the jealousy and the envy from their parents. Now, why is it important? It's because first you're providing a protective factor for the child. You're also building their self-confidence alongside their self-esteem. This is why it's so important. But why do you guys think that this is so difficult? It's funny because once you have a kid, you should be stepping up to the plate. Once you have a kid, like as a man, you feel me? Like me, when I had my daughter, after that, I was like, oh wow, I'm a father now. I can't be running around in the streets. I can't be living my life with this F-it attitude and thug life and all this crazy stuff. Like, I had to put my priorities in order. But that's just me. That's just the way that my mind works, right? Like, and maybe it has to do with a lot with my upbringing too, because my parents, they've been married for 50 years, going on 51 next year. And they've always been together. Now, I've always seen them together. I've never even seen my parents fight in front of me. That's not to say that they didn't fight and argue. I'm sure they did. But they kept it away from us. You know, from my brothers and my sisters. And growing up, seeing my family always together, maybe I held it as a standard, you know, as far as my own life. So when I had my child, I was like, oh, OMG, I got to be there for them, you know. But it's not about that. We're talking about afterwards. We're talking about if you was married, the divorce. After your divorce, you still got to deal with the person. It's easy when you're with somebody and you could just break up with them and y'all don't have no baggage or y'all have no attachments at all. You can just break up with a person and just walk away and you're good. But that's not the case when you have kids. That shouldn't be the case when you have kids. If you're a mother, if you're a father, you are going to be there for your kids no matter what happened. But why is it so difficult? It's because of the ego. More importantly than just the ego, it's really more about the emotions still involved, you know? Because you got with this person and you actually thought you was going to spend the rest of your life with this person, and clearly something didn't work out. Whatever the reason was, something didn't work out. It doesn't matter whose fault it is, just it didn't work out, y'all broken up. But now y'all got kids. So whether you guys like it or not, if you have a kid with somebody, you're going to have to deal with that person. You have to be around. You're going to have to interact with that person if you're trying to co-parent with this, with your old partner, right? But with your kid's mother or with your kid's father, it works both ways, you know? I feel it's because that, and that's what I mean about the emotions, because there's still a lot of emotions involved. And what I mean about ego is because, speaking from a man's perspective, from my point of view, it's like if my baby mom's all of a sudden gets with another guy, now my ego is hurt. Like she's supposed to be single for the rest of her life or something like that. Like, you know, like, so now our ego gets hurt and things like that. Or he might make more money, might drive a nicer car, or might look better than you, and all this that really shouldn't even affect you because you're not with the person anymore. So why does it even matter? The kids should be the priority. Now, when I asked this question, I had a lot of comments, and I said I was gonna respond to them and give them a shout out. So it goes like this: as far as the question goes, as far as why a lot of people say is jealousy, I'd say it's lack of communication. But why do you guys think that it's so difficult to co-parent nowadays? Why is this so difficult? Tanisha, and most importantly, communicate, and not through any other family member. We're definitely going to get to that, and you're absolutely right. I 100% agree with you. Akira, thank you for tuning in. Haiti, Michelle, press 1 if y'all watching live. Press 2 if this is a replay. Comment if y'all want a shout out. I'm spreading love all day, every day. It's a Brooklyn thing. I'm in Florida. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Betty Perez says, one of them hasn't grown up yet or hasn't matured. You're absolutely right. Maturity is one of the issues why it makes it so difficult to co-parent. Barbara said is communication, maturity, and one of the parent has unfinished business, meaning they have not been able to move on. You're right. They're still holding on to that attachment. Like, listen, let's not talk about this like it's easy either, right? Just because I said, it's common sense to co-parent with your child, just because it's common sense, but let's be honest, common sense is not that common. But when I say that, I don't want to desensitize the situation as if it's not difficult, as if it's easy. No, it's not easy. But if you're a mother and you're a father, you should swallow your pride. I always say, starve your ego and feed your soul. You know, do what's best for you. But more importantly, do what's best for the child. Leave all your selfishness. Leave all your machista. Leave all that to the side. None of that matters. We're talking about the kid right now. You feel me? Like Erica Timo, it could be trauma. Now I responded, what do you mean exactly by trauma? I'm not going to even guess. I'm not going to even assume. Erica Tima, she said it could be trauma. Big deal. Big deal, whatever it is. At the end of the day, that's your responsibility. And whatever it is that you went through in your past, I'm not saying like it's not a big deal, like, oh, whatever you went through, whatever, because it could be abuse. You know, there is an exception in co-parenting. The exception is if the other parent is being abusive. If they're being, especially physical abuse, if they're being verbally abusive and things like that, now the best, you know, you have your child's best interest at heart. You're not going to want your child around a person that's abusive like that. So that's the exception. But other than that, we should all try to work together to raise our kings and queens in training. Jay Fernandez, communication and maturity. That seems to be the main thing on communication. We get that, right? We get that. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that. But the maturity, that a lot of people feel like it's the maturity. Because it's like, listen, I have a baby moms, right? And things are good now as far as the co-parenting relationship, but I'd be lying to y'all if I said it was always like that. Of course not. There were some hard times. There were some difficult times. There were some times where I acted immature. There were some times when I acted out of character. You know, it took time to mature. It took time for you to go through those situations and to have that experience and actually, not just that, but actually learn from it, correct yourself, and then move forward. Nina Rock, when one parent still has feelings and is still hurt and bitter. You're right. They still love the person, but it didn't work out. It didn't work out. This is why one of my quotes is always, most relationships, if not all, are over. Relationships are over way before the breakup. Because there's always one that wants to hold on. Because there's always one that loves harder. Because there's always one that's not ready to give up. And because there's always one that still has hope. Delanise Colon, co-parenting only works when you're not worried about the other parent's business. Amen. And you focus on the child or the children and have the child's best interest in mind. You're absolutely right. Last one to finish off with this. In my case, she got personal, so I'm not gonna amen this. In my case, it's both. Due to his lack of communication, my son no longer has a relationship with his biological dad. When he does call to speak to his son, he has an issue with my son calling his stepdad daddy. Man, I'm going to end that right there. And that hurts. That actually does hurt. I actually went through that with my daughter, and I heard her say that, oh, stepdad, or my stepdad. And I'm like, your stepdad? Like, your mother's not married? Like, your stepdad? Like, it is what it is. You know, whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not, but if our ex-partner that we have a child with, if they get with somebody, and that automatically makes that person part of the family. I'm not talking about a fling. I'm not talking about a boy or a girl toy or anything. I'm talking about somebody that person decided to settle down and build a future with. They are also part of the family. So as much as it hurts me to say, they also have rights. They also have a say. Now, an incentive for you guys, before I give you guys the 3 cardinal rules of co-parenting, this is an incentive. I hope this can motivate, I hope this can inspire, and I hope this could push other people to swallow their pride and swallow their ego and actually try to make things work. Kids that grow up in a broken home, kids that grow up with just one parent, with the other parent nowhere to be around, and this is a fact, guys, they are 3 times more likely to be expelled from school. They are also 5 times more likely to end up in jail, prison, or end up in poverty. I know we love our kids. And I know all of us do not want to see our kids struggle. Not like the way we did. We always want to provide our kids the life that we didn't have. That's the incentives. 3 times more likely to be expelled from school, 5 times more likely to end up in poverty or in prison. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. So let's keep that in mind when we're trying to work the situation as far as co-parenting. Now, the number one thing, I got 3 for you guys. The number one thing is being respectful. You have to be respectful. Have you ever had a coworker? Have you ever had a boss? Have you ever had a family member that you just didn't like, right? Like, oh, I just don't like you. But yet you still was able to respect them. That's my point. You don't have to like them to respect them. You don't even have to be their friends. I'm not over here saying, oh, be their best friends. And no, you don't have to have no friendship. The only friendship that you should have is the friendship towards the co-parenting. This is what I mean as far as you have to be respectful. Respectful also falls in line with not using your kids as ammo. Not using your kids as, oh, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. Also, you can't, I'm not going to let you pick up your son. I'm not going to let you see your daughter. That's using your kids as ammo. You're hurting your kids. Another thing as far as being respectful is not using your kids as messengers. I told you I was going to get to that. Not using your kids as messengers. Don't be saying, oh, go tell your mom this, this, and that. Or go tell your dad this, this, and that. You're putting your kids right in the middle of it. You're putting your kids in a situation of them feeling like they have to choose a side. That's what we're really doing when we're using our kids as messengers. You know? Oh, to tell your dad, where's that child support money coming through? Oh, tell your mom to stop messing around with so much dudes. Like, you know, petty and immature things like that. That's the number one thing as far as the 3 rules as far as co-parenting goes. It has to be being respectful. Don't talk bad about the other parent. That's another no-no. You shouldn't be doing it. I shouldn't, like if I have my son around, there's no reason for me to talk bad about my baby moms to my son. If I want to vent, then I should have those adult conversations with an adult, not the kid. Even if my kid is an adult, that they are still not, it's still not their business at all. The kids should grow up to love both parents equally. It shouldn't be a competition or anything like that, because the reality is, if we talk bad about our kids' parents, it's like we're making it okay for them to do the same. How would you feel if your kid disrespected you because their mother or their father made it okay to do so? So put yourself in their shoes, and this is why I'm saying the number one thing, it has to be respect. Tanisha, communication, of course, and haven't let go of what you guys did have. Armando, my cuz, I love you, bro. Just tolerate them or deal with them. And it's tough, and it is tough to do things like that. I got you. It is tough. We ain't making this like it's easy. Now the number 2 thing, we're gonna flow it. Number 2 thing, consistency. You have to be consistent, and by consistent I mean having like the same rules. You understand what I'm saying? Like for an example, I get my sons on the weekend. Let's say he misbehaved. He did something he knew he wasn't he shouldn't do. Now, my mom beat me all the time. Wires, chancletas, spoons, cucharon, and all that. It is what it is, right? I don't want to hit my kids. I don't feel good hitting my kids. It bothers me and it hurts me more than to hit my kids. It does. I would punish my kids. So if my son misbehaved, he did something he wasn't supposed to, so now he's on punishment while he's here. He's here for 3 days. Oh, no screens. No screens is what I tell my son. No screens means anything that's on the screen, you ain't gonna be able. Ain't no tablet, ain't no iPod, ain't no PlayStation 4, ain't no Netflix, ain't no being on my phone. It's no screen. You better find a coloring book or a comic book. You better read, pick up the Bible, do something. Go outside and play like how we used to do. But you are not gonna get on the screen. But as far as the consistency, it's like, so I would have to call my baby moms and let her know, hey, listen, Michael did this, this, and that. I got home on punishment for no screens for the week. She should follow that up too, because it is a team. This is what I mean about consistency. Like, same rules, because we are part of the same team. We're raising the same child, This is like, okay, it's like having like a business partner and things like that. We are doing the best thing we can for the child's interest at heart. Especially because nowadays kids will get over on you. My brothers and my sisters, we got over my dad all the time, right? Because my mom was the strict one. My mom was the one that put her foot down, right? And they didn't have the communication like that. So Ma said it was okay. Pa said it was okay. Hey, what you doing in the park? I told you not to go out. But Pa said it's okay. Kids will get over on you unless you have that 100% clear communication. And this is why communication leads in from consistency. They go hand in hand. Is the communication. Now, at the end of the day, the child's interest is the priority. No matter what. It's what's best for the child. And I understand, like, okay, so Tanisha says, you got to tolerate them or deal with them. Yeah, you do. You also have to compromise. A lot of times, like what do you do when the other parent feels like they're a better father or they're a better mother than you are, when they're a better parent and things like that, Like, what do? You have to compromise sometimes. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that I do that, I'm just saying that you have to compromise. You have to try to meet in the middle. And I know it's hard. I know it's not easy. But if we put our kids first, all things are possible. Keith, was good, man. Was good. How's everybody doing? Press 1 if y'all watching live. Press 2 if this is a replay. This Thursday, I'm actually going to be talking about, it's funny because Tanisha said that, as far as not sending messages through family members and things like that. So we're going to be talking about as far as in-laws. Dealing with your in-laws, whether you're married or you're settled down with somebody, dealing with your mother-in-law, dealing with your father-in-law, dealing with your brothers and sisters-in-law, and dealing with them always trying to be all up in your business. We're going to talk about that. Keith has his topic. I'm not going to mention it. I'm going to save that as a surprise. I'm going to have Keith do his thing on that. And I'm going to talk about is this. So I'm like... This is funny. So it's like, goes like this. Like, so my boy's girl, and this is my boy. He's my killer. We've known each other for decades. And I know his girl too, right? So she ended up calling me one morning, right? It was a Monday morning. She called me. Hey, what? And I found it weird. I'm like, what's shorty want? That's why I hope my G is good, right? That's the first thing I thought. Like, I hope my killer was good, right? Hey, what's up, man? Everything's good. No, everything's good. Hey, listen, was you with so-and-so last night? So my best friend's girlfriend calls me out the blue on a Monday morning and hits me up with, was you with so-and-so last night? I'm on some... But I'm going to let y'all know how that went down this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. I love you guys all. Thank y'all all for tuning in. For me to end this is just, I'll repeat it again. When kids grow up in a broken home, they're 3 times most likely to be expelled from school. They're 5 times more likely to end up in poverty or end up in jail and prison. That's an incentive for us to co-parent. I know it's not easy, but it is doable. And especially when you're dealing with somebody that still has the ego, that still has the pride, that still has that certain feeling of they still want you, but they don't want to admit it. When they still have certain feelings, when they still have resentment, when they still have all those emotions involved. I know it's not easy. And if I was and I'm going through a situation like that, that's per se, my baby moms is being difficult. Well, how do I take care of that? I have to have a clear head. I have to understand that it's not personal. It's not personal. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with them. And keep your kids a priority. We all want our kids to smile. We all want our kids to be happy. Provide that happiness for them. And I guarantee you that when you see your kids happy out there, can no one take your smile away. Thank you all for tuning in. It's your boy Stitches NBC. I'll see y'all again on Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Like, comment, share. Because this is the best talk show. Because this is the most real. And this is Brutally Honest. I love you guys all.